So for today's recipe, first we're going to prep all our veggies. So I've washed my French beans really well, or farasvi as you call them, and I'm just going to chop them, sideways like this with a very sharp knife. I like to cut them small, but you can keep them long too. It all depends on what you like. I like to cut them into bite-sized pieces. Now I'm just going to wash the carrot, peel it, and I'd like to take out the center white part, and then again I chop it sideways into small little bits like this and set it aside. So you can always prep your veggies, a day ahead and keep. So I'm going to cut up my capsicum. I'm going to take up all this white stuff. And then I'm going to chop it up into small bits like this. So the choice is yours. You can cut it up into small bits, or you can keep them even into long slivers. I like to cut them into small pieces because it's much easier to, eat them rather than the long, cut slices. But again, like I said, choice is all yours. And then I'm going to, chop up the spring onions. So first I like to chop the leaves up and then the onions. Now one tip here is soak these spring onions, before you start chopping them into some salt water for at least 15 minutes. Wash them well and, give them a nice wipe with your kitchen napkin and then chop them up. Now I'm using salami. I'm just going to chop the salami, but you can use sausages, you can use ham, you can use bacon, prawns, the choice is yours. And I'm just going to add some salt to the eggs and just beat them up. And now I've added 6 cups of water to a pan. In the meantime, I'm going to prepare the sauce. So in a bowl, I've taken 2 tablespoons of soya sauce, 1 tablespoon of red chili sauce, then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of Szechuan chutney or Szechuan sauce, 1 tablespoon of green chili sauce, 1 tablespoon of vinegar. Now I'm going to take 2 Maggi soup cubes and I'm going to add that. So you don't need to add any salt because these soup cubes have enough of salt content. So the only salt that we added was when we were beating up the eggs. Otherwise, these soup cubes make up for the salt. So don't add any extra salt. And then 1.5 teaspoon of pepper powder. And we're going to mix all of this and set this sauce aside, which we're going to add later. So now our water has started to boil, and now we're just going to add the noodles and we're going to cook it as per the instructions on the pack. So, all types of noodles have their own instructions as to how many minutes you have to cook them. So cook them well and then just strain them. And after you strain them, just add about a teaspoon of oil or half a teaspoon of oil and just, ruffle them up like this and set them aside so that they don't get, sticky. Now in a pan, I'm just going to add half a teaspoon of oil or 1/4 teaspoon of oil, and I'm just going to add the egg and just scramble the egg up and set it aside. Then I'm going to fry all the veggies really well on a high flame for very little while till they're nice and crispy. So what you can do is, keep all your veggies chopped up ready. And then all you have to do is just get your noodles ready, just fry everything and then assemble everything. And this chow has to be had really piping hot. So, you know, uh, that's how. Anyway, now so I've added 1 tablespoon of oil to a wok, and to that I've added the spring onion part as well as half of the greens. I'm going to add about 1 teaspoon of ginger garlic paste. I'm going to fry all of this really, really well. Now you could add even chopped up ginger and garlic. And now after this, I'm going to add all our fried veggies and the fried salami and the scrambled eggs to this and fry everything really well on a medium to high flame. Now once you've done that, just add all the noodles and just, mix them up well with the veggies. Now I'm going to add the sauces. And that's it, friends. Just fry this on a very high flame for half a minute or for a minute and turn off the flame. Put it into a serving bowl, sprinkle some spring onions, and it's all ready. And like I said, have this piping hot. So give this recipe a try, guys. everyone, and welcome back to Akshata's recipes. Thank you so much for joining me today. So today I'm going to be showing you all a very special recipe, a recipe which you can try out over the weekend. It's this special chicken recipe. It's super simple like all my other recipes, but the end result is so very delicious. And you can have this with some lovely rotis, or you can have it with some steamed rice or some pulao, and it's really lovely and delicious. So without much further ado, let's just jump straight ahead into today's recipe. So friends, let's start with today's lovely recipe. Well, here I have some whole spices and some dried red chilies. Here are some peppercorns, some fennel seeds or sauf, some coriander seeds or dhania, and some cumin seeds or jeera. Now all the ingredients with their exact measurements will be in the description box below. So first I'm going to dry roast the red chilies, and I'm going to roast them on a low to medium flame till I get a nice aroma of the red chilies and they become nice and roasted and crispy. Now I'm going to add the peppercorns. So roughly I've used about 6 to 7 dry red chilies. I've used about 1 tablespoon of peppercorns, 1 tablespoon of fennel seeds or sauf. I'm going to roast that too. So you'll get this beautiful aroma of the peppercorns roasting, the fennel seeds. Now I've gone ahead and also added the remaining ingredients, which is 1 tablespoon of coriander seeds and 1 tablespoon of cumin seeds. Now dry roast this nicely till everything is roasted well, and then when they come to room temperature, we're going to grind all of them together to get a very fine powder like this. So now you can make this powder ahead of time and store it in your refrigerator. Now here I have about 250 grams of boneless chicken breast, which I've chopped up fine. Then I have about 2 large onions, about half a teaspoon of turmeric powder, 1 teaspoon of red chili powder. This is some garam masala, some chopped up curry leaves, some lemon juice, and about 2 tablespoons of ginger garlic paste. This is the reserve water that I, when I cleaned out the mixer, I used the water, and that is the water, and some fresh coriander. Now I'm going to use a heavy bottom pan, and I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of oil. So like I said, all ingredients will be in the description box below. You can go and check out the exact measurements. So now once our oil is nice and hot, we're going to start by adding a few of the cumin seeds, just about a quarter teaspoon. And once they splutter, we're going to add our 2 large onions chopped fine. Now we're going to fry these onions really well till they become golden brown in color. Now I'm going to add my curry leaves. Try and use fresh curry leaves. Now one way to store curry leaves is when you buy them. What I like to do is I just take off the leaves from the stalk and I put them into a glass container or a steel container, and I put them in my refrigerator. And whenever I want to use them, I wash them at that time and use them. That way your curry leaves will remain nice and fresh. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my turmeric powder or my haldi powder. Fry everything well, saute everything well. Now here my husband Abhijit is helping me out. I'm doing the shooting and he's doing all the sauteing of everything. So you must go and check out Abhijit's risotto recipe. I will leave a link below. He has made the entire risotto. So once you nicely get everything sauteed, that's very important to saute everything very, very well. Like you can see, the onions have become nice and golden brown in color. Now I'm going to add my ginger garlic paste. So here I've roughly used about 1 inch of ginger, which I've peeled and then grated, and then I've used about 4 to 5 large cloves of garlic, and then after that I put them into the mixer together and made a paste. Now I've added the chicken. Wash your chicken well and then chop them up into even sized cubes like this. Now mix everything well together. Let this bagar or the fodni, coat all of the chicken pieces really well. So this recipe doesn't take much time if you make the roasted masala and keep aside. Now we're going to cover and cook this for about 2 to 3 minutes, and you will see that the chicken and the onions, they tend to leave a little bit of water, and that helps the chicken to cook also. Now we're going to add some salt to taste. Always go easy when you're adding the salt, because you can always add salt later, but if your dish becomes extra salty, then you can't do anything about it. So always go easy on the salt. Now again, we're going to cover and cook this for about a minute or so. Now the chicken looks nice and cooked. Just saute it in the middle, cover, cook for about a minute and then saute it. Now we're going to add our garam masala, just about a teaspoon of, half a teaspoon of garam masala. I have a recipe for homemade garam masala, I'll leave a link below. Then we're going to add 1 teaspoon of red chili powder. That you can adjust according to your taste. If you want it more spicy, you can add more chili powder. If you want it less, you can add less. Now I'm going to add this ground masala. So I'm going to add about 3/4 of what I've used. Actually, you can go with the whole thing also, but I think 3/4 of whatever we roasted, we used that. And then we're going to add that reserve water. And we're going to cook everything nicely together. Mix all of that masala well together. You can see that the color of the chicken also looks so amazing now. And for those of you who love pepper, this is really an amazing dish. I love pepper personally. I like to put it in almost all of my dishes. And now I'm just going to add the coriander. Mix it a while. And then I'm going to add just about 1/4 cup of water and cook it for a while. And then I'm going to turn off the gas and add the lemon juice. Always add your lemon juice after you've turned off the flame. Give it a good mix, and then I'm going to add a little more of the coriander for garnish. And that's it, friends. This special chicken recipe is all ready. You can have it with some roti or naan or just some plain rice or chapatis. Hope you try out this dish. Let me know, guys. Creamy lemon pepper chicken curry. It's a very different kind of curry, and it has this beautiful flavor of a lot of lemon and pepper. Now we're going to start by marinating the chicken. So I've taken about 250 grams of boneless chicken breast. I've washed it well and cut it up into small, even-sized pieces. That way they cook very well and quite quickly and evenly. To this, I'm going to add about a cup of thick yogurt or dahi. Now, I have a recipe of how you can prepare your own dahi at home. I'll leave a link in the description box below. Now, since this is lemon pepper chicken, I'm going to add a whole tablespoon of black pepper powder. This is home made pepper powder. I've just taken some peppercorns, roasted them, and ground them to a fine powder. Next, I'm going to add half a teaspoon of turmeric powder, haldi powder. This adds a lovely color. Next goes in the juice of one entire lime, or you can measure it to at least 1/4 cup of lime juice. Next goes in 1 tablespoon of ginger garlic paste, and I'm going to season it with some salt. Now for the ginger garlic paste, I've taken about 6 cloves of garlic and 1 inch of ginger and made a fine paste with it. Now we got to give everything a nice good mix, and we need to marinate this for at least 15 to 20 minutes minimum, and if you can keep it for an hour, even better, because then everything gets nicely marinated and the flavors really come out very well. So marinating it is very, very important. Now if you don't have a lot of time, 15 to 20 minutes will also do. Now after marination, I've just taken a pan and I've heated about a tablespoon of oil. To that oil, I'm going to add 1 light green chili, which I have diced very finely. We're going to fry the chili well because we want to infuse the oil with this lovely flavor of chili. Next, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon each of ginger paste as well as garlic paste. Now, although we've marinated the chicken with ginger garlic, we still need to add a little more of ginger garlic paste to really, make this curry really flavoursome. So you can add 1 teaspoon each of ginger garlic paste, or again half a tablespoon of ginger garlic paste. Next, I'm going to add this coarsely ground powder, which I've made out of cloves, cardamom, and some cinnamon. So I've taken about 4 cloves, or lavang as you call it, half an inch of cinnamon, and I've taken just 1 elaichi, white elaichi or cardamom, and I've just coarsely ground this in my mortar and pestle. Now once that is done, we're going to add our marinated chicken and we're going to give it a very good mix. We want everything to really mix in well together. So just give the entire dish a nice mix. Now we're going to cook this on a medium flame, medium to high, and we're going to just continuously stir everything together. Now I've made a slurry of corn flour. I've taken 1 tablespoon of corn flour and about half a cup of water, made a thick paste, and I've just added that to the chicken. Now we're going to cover the chicken and cook it for about 5 minutes. Once that is done, we're just going to give it a mix. And now I've added about half a cup of cream. Now you don't need to really use the fresh cream. You can use just normal cream, which is there, the top layer of the milk, or if you have fresh cream, you can use that. And then we're just going to garnish it with some lovely freshly chopped coriander. And that's it, friends. And our lovely creamy lemon pepper chicken is all ready. You have to make this dish because it has such a different taste, and it is really, really full of flavors and really, really delicious. Also, I would like to mention here that I have many other easy and quick chicken recipes on my channel. So just go to my channel page, Akshata's Recipes. You will see something called playlist. Click on that and then you'll see chicken recipe. See today's lovely, delicious butter chicken recipe. Now here I've taken 200 grams of chicken boneless breasts and cut them into thin strips. To this I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of thick yogurt, 2 tablespoons of ginger garlic paste. I'll leave the recipes of how to make homemade dahi or yogurt and ginger garlic paste in the description box below. This is 1 tablespoon of Kashmiri red chili powder, some salt to taste, and 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. Now mix all of this really well together and cover it and keep it aside for 15 minutes. Now I'm going to add half a tablespoon of oil to my pan as well as half a tablespoon of butter. Mix the two together well. Now once it's nice and hot, I'm going to add 1 medium onion chopped fine. That's about 1 cup of onion chopped fine. 1 tablespoon of ginger garlic paste. Mix these two together really well and fry it really well. Next goes in 1 tomato that I've chopped fine. Mix all these 3 ingredients really well on a low to medium flame. Next, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of Kashmiri red chili powder. Now, since butter chicken is not very spicy, we are using Kashmiri red chili powder instead of using red chili powder. Now, I'm going to add 1/4 cup of water. Mix all of this well. And I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of cashew nuts. Now mix all of this really well together, and you're going to cover and keep this for about 15 minutes on a low flame till all of it comes together. Now this is very important that you cook it on a low flame, keep checking it in between, and then once you open it after 15 minutes, you'll see that all the water has dried up. Turn off the flame and transfer this to another bowl and let it cool completely. So now once I've transferred that to another bowl, in the same pan, I'm just going to add about a teaspoon of oil. Once the oil is nice and hot, I'm going to add the chicken pieces which we had marinated, and we're going to fry these really well. So see, you can now see how the strips are. So do cut them in strips because butter chicken does have strips of chicken, and for that you need to use boneless chicken. So just cut them into long strips, and marinating it is also very important, and then just keep turning them at intervals, but ensure that they're nicely fried like this, and fry them in batches. Don't put everything together in one pan. Make it into 2 batches, that way everything gets evenly fried. They should look like this, and then transfer them to another plate. So now our paste that I transferred, which we had fried for all the onions, cashew nuts, tomatoes, has cooled down completely. Ensure that it is cooled down completely. Don't grind a very hot mixture. And then once you grind it, you'll get this lovely orange paste. Now turn the flame on under your pan on a low to medium heat and transfer this paste that we've ground to the pan. And just fry it for about half a minute without adding any oil or anything, just the paste. Now this is the water that we get when we rinse the mixer jar. So add that, just about half a cup, and let this gravy nicely cook on a low to medium flame for about a minute. Now after that, I'm going to add half a teaspoon of garam masala. This is again homemade. I'll leave a recipe of how to make your homemade garam masala. And I'm going to add 1/4 cup of thick cream, or you can also use milk. The thick, the layer of that cream that comes on top of the milk, just add that. Now we're going to add some salt to taste. First taste the mixture and then add salt to taste. And since butter chicken has a little bit of a sweet tinge to it, we're going to add a pinch of sugar. So I'm using powdered sugar. Just add a pinch of it. Now cook all of this really well, and now once it's cooked, you're going to add all the fried chicken back into the gravy. And that's it, guys. Turn off the flame, just add a little bit of cream and garnish it with a sprig of kothmeer or coriander. And that's it, guys. Your lovely butter chicken is really delicious and really, a must try. And this goes really well.
A large onion which has been sliced, and we are going to fry this in 1 tablespoon of oil. I'm using olive oil over here. You can use regular cooking oil, and we're going to fry this till it becomes lovely and golden brown and crispy, just like how we prepare it for a biryani. And then we're just going to put it into our mixer or grinder once it is at room temperature, and we're going to grind it to a paste. This unfried onion paste adds a different taste and flavor to this recipe and makes it just divine. And now we're going to use 1 medium-sized tomato chopped. Then we're going to be using 2 green chilies, which I've just slit in the middle, and use the light green chilies because they're not at all very spicy. Then we're going to use a few curry leaves, about 6 to 7 curry leaves. See that your curry leaves are nice and green and fresh. One way of storing them is store them in some newspaper or in some paper. Then we're going to use about 2 teaspoons of coriander powder or dhania powder. I have a recipe for homemade powders. I will leave a link below, as well as 1 teaspoon of cumin powder or jeera powder. Then we're going to use 1 teaspoon of kasuri methi. We're going to be using half a teaspoon of turmeric powder or haldi powder, 1 teaspoon of Kashmiri red chili powder, which gives a lovely color to this dish. It doesn't add to the spiciness that much, but it adds a beautiful color. Half a teaspoon of garam masala. I also have a recipe for homemade garam masala. Check the description box below. A cup of dahi or curd. Again, I have a recipe for homemade curd. I'll leave that below. And half a cup of cream. Now, this is optional. You can add the cream or you can leave it out. And the most important ingredient is our chicken. I always use boneless breast, which I cut up into small cubes because it's very lean meat. And then we're going to use 1 inch of ginger, which I've just grated using a cheese grater. And we're going to use about 6 large cloves of garlic, which I've chopped up very, very fine. And of course, the most important ingredient of all our dishes, which really adds some flavor to all our dishes, and that is salt. We're going to use salt to taste. Mostly about 3/4 of a teaspoon. Always go slow on the salt. You can always add salt later. So let's begin now making this amazing weekend chicken recipe. Now again, I'm heating about 1 tablespoon of oil in my pan. Once our oil is nice and hot on a medium flame, we're going to fry our garlic. We're going to fry it well till all the rawness goes away. Then we're also going to be adding our grated ginger and our green chilies. We're going to fry all of this. We're going to fry the green chilies too, because this will flavor the oil. It'll add flavor to the entire dish. Always cook on a low to medium flame and watch your cooking. Don't leave it on a high flame because then it tends to get burnt and then it leaves a very burnt flavor to the entire dish. Now we're going to add these curry leaves, which also give a lovely aroma and a lovely flavor to this dish. Now, once everything is fried very well, we're going to add the tomatoes. Now, we're going to fry the tomatoes till they become nice and soft and mushy. So, we have to fry this for a little while. Now, we're going to be adding this onion paste, the fried onion paste. We're going to add that too. And we're going to give everything a good mix and a good fry. Right now, my kitchen is just full of amazing aromas of all these amazing ingredients. Now I'm going to be adding the coriander or the dhania powder, the cumin or the jeera powder, and give all of this a good mix. I called this weekend chicken because it's really ideal to make it on a Saturday night or a Friday night or a Sunday night. Now I'm going to be adding the kasuri methi, the garam masala, the haldi and the Kashmiri chili powder. Now all we have left to add is our chicken. So we're going to add the chicken and we're going to fry the chicken well till it changes from a raw pink color to a nice brownish white color. So we need to fry this along with all of the other ingredients well. Now we're going to add salt to taste. So you can go with 3/4 of a teaspoon or 1 teaspoon. We're going to add our curd or our dahi. Give everything a mix. Now we're going to add some water, about 1/2 cup of water, so that it just cooks up everything and gives us a little bit of a gravy. We're going to cover this and cook this for 15 minutes on a very low flame, but please keep checking in between, keep stirring in between. It has to cook for 15 minutes, and then you get this amazing, lovely chicken gravy. And now we're just going to make it even more tastier and delicious by adding some cream. Now mix in the cream well. And now all we are left to do is just garnish this with some lovely butter. You can leave out the butter, but I like to put, a small dollop of butter on top. And then just lots and lots of coriander. I love coriander in